So most of us, depending on where you live, are in the beautiful blooming of springtime right now. I love spring. Spring has always been about fresh starts, rejuvenation, and just coming out of that hibernation. I love the winter time, I truly do. But when winter starts to end, it feels so good to kind of emerge out of this dark hibernation phase that we've all been in. Again, depending on where you live. As the seasons change according to Ayurveda, we need to change so that we remain balanced. We are a part of nature. And for us to stay healthy and happy and energized, we need to adjust certain foods and lifestyle ways of living our lives when the season changes. In the spring, is a great opportunity to feel really good if you adjust a few things. So here are a few things that I adjust and that I recommend to all my clients to make these adjustments. Number one is you want to move your body more in the springtime. We need to get that sluggishness of winter kind of shaken off, and the best place to do this is outside. Be in nature, hear the birds, smell the freshness, smell the flowers blooming. All of that is really balancing to our nervous system. Number two is we want to make sure we're getting up early, unless we're working, shift work and stuff. But there's a reason why the birds are chirping at 4 and 5 in the morning, even though it can be very annoying if you're trying to sleep. It's a reminder that life is blooming outside and to take advantage of the beauty of spring. If you have a hard time getting to bed earlier so that you can wake up earlier, just try reducing, start going to bed 15 minutes earlier each week until you get to a time. It's better to do it gradual. Get to a time where it's going to be easier to get up in the early morning. The early mornings are where the energy of spring is really evident. Now, as far as the food aspect goes, this is a time in history where a lot of cultures have done a cleanse or they've switched their diet to a lighter version of their diet. And Ayurveda never recommends doing a crazy long juice fast or water fast, none of that. Ayurveda is more about gentle approaches and honoring what season we're in. And in the springtime, it means reducing heavy foods. Foods like pasta and bread, squash, sweet potatoes, lots of oily food, creamy food. It doesn't mean that these foods are bad per se. It just means that they're not balancing in the springtime. The springtime is really a time to love your liver with lighter foods and bitter foods like greens, dandelion greens, if you can find them in your health food store. Maybe you have a whole yard full of dandelion greens that you can chop up a bit and add to some meals. Kale, collards, Swiss chard, all these bitter greens really support the health of your liver. Parsley, cilantro, add some nice herbs as well. Then another thing that we really want to do in the spring is what I call kind of lymphatic drainage. Now there's a few different ways to do this. One of the ways, most people have heard of dry brushing. Most health food stores, you can get them on Amazon, just buy a dry brush. It's kind of like a really rough, bristly brush that you just kind of, rough your skin up like that. And you do your legs, you do your whole body. You want to be really gentle on your neck and avoid your face. I used to do dry brushing before I kind of learned about Ayurveda's version of that. And now I use what's called Garshana gloves. It's kind of just this fancy name for a raw silk mitten. You just slip it on like a mitten that you would in wintertime. But it's made out of raw silk. I wish I had mine in here, but they're at home in my bathroom. And I prefer these so much more over the dry brushing. The dry brushing is great if you don't have sensitive skin, and because it's rough, it feels rough, it almost hurts sometimes, but the silk gloves are much more gentle. And what I do every morning before my shower, I put my gloves on and I just kind of go down my arms, elbows, you can use it on your neck, very gentle. And you do your whole body. When you purchase a pair of these Garshana gloves, if you're interested, they always come with instructions, and you can watch videos on YouTube on how to do Garshana. What I love about Garshana is it moves your lymphatic system. And after the shower, you will not believe how smooth your skin feels without it feeling kind of irritated and a bit raw almost if you're using the dry brush. So you can try those. If you love the dry brush, this is still very balancing during the spring. I just like to give another option because I didn't know about these raw silk gloves, and I love them. They're wonderful. So there's a few tips to help you stay balanced and energized as we enjoy the springtime.